Here it is the 12th edition of the Spring Showdown here at the Class Track Tri-State Speedway. We have 4 heat races up for grabs here with the USAC Amsoil Sprint Car National Championship. 32 drivers checking in out of the heat races, 10 laps the distance. Top 5 in each of these will lock directly into your feature event. Heat race number 1 brought to you by Car IQ. Field making its way out to the Speedway. Right quick, let's go ahead and set the field for you. Driver on the pole comes to you out of Patoka, Indiana. Driver the Thacker Concrete, Cummings Power, DRC Chassis, England Machine, and tool number 7S. It'll be Sam Scott. Lining up outside of him, that's going to be Kendall Rubel out of Vincennes, Indiana. The Martins Auto Care, Brad Arthur Heating and Cooling. Iconic Foam Insulation, DRC Chassis number 17K. Second row from the inside, C.J. Leary out of Greenfield, Indiana. The Curb Records, Kodiak Products, Oakcraft Gelding and Cabinetry, Team Arizona, Curb Agajane and Racing number 21. And next to him, it'll be Chase Stockton out of Fort Branch, Indiana. The GetLucasOil.com, Daywig Meats, Kistler, DRC, Moose Racing number 92. Jaden Rogers out of Worthington, Indiana. The Mighty Kind Cannabis Seltzer, Spec Power, DRC, Amati Racing, Young's Autobody number 66 from the 5th starting spot from 6. Tonight's Honest Abe Roofing Quick Qualifier for the 4th time this season. Mitchell Moles out of Raisin City, California. The AMA Electrical, Missoula Transportation, Stanton Spike, number 19. Final row from the inside, the Busch Light One-Way Performance, DRC, Hornbeck Concrete, Daywig Meats, BGE Motorsports, number 15. It's going to be Carson Garrett. And your final starter hails out of Robards, Kentucky. Driver the G-Nick Construction Spec, DRC, number 10. That is Eric Gentry. As that'll be your starting lineup again for Car IQ Heat Race number 1 of 4 tonight. With the USAC Amsoil Sprint Car National Championship, let's check in with Drake York.
Thank you so much, Brian. Let's recap some stories heading out of Honest Abe Roofing qualifying, starting off with the Moose Racing 92 of Chase Stockton, who you just mentioned. He's going to be starting on the outside of row number 2 for Car IQ Heat Race number 1. If you go back to Dirt Draft Hot Laps, we talked about he was very slow and off the pace from the start before pulling it down to the infield. They took the car apart back in the pit area. They found out it was a bad fuel filter, and the reason it was quite perplexing to the Moose Racing 92 team is because it was a brand new fuel filter. Everything was done on it correctly that you could possibly hope was done correctly. So they just took it off, went out for Honest Abe Roofing. Qualifying was able to lay down a lap. And really one of the big stories heading out of Honest Abe Roofing qualifying was Jake Swanson. If you remember just behind me back in turn number 2, he went upside down on lap number 1 of his qualifying run. We reported that the shock tower had been knocked off the left front, and those things, they're hard to replace, that's for sure. But the team kind of doing something that we used to see back in the 1990s with the bolt-on shock tower. Yes, that's right, a bolt-on shock tower in the 2020s. You don't see that a lot, but nonetheless, the 5T team had that plan in play, and I asked Jake back in the pit area, I said, how long did it take you to swap out that shock tower? He said, literally a minute, the car was back on the ground. As a matter of fact, they actually rolled down the backup car before figuring out they could fix that car. He's going to roll from the outside of the front row before the final heat race.
Thank you very much. The field going to jackrabbit around. They'll find the Toyota Racing Development pace truck making its way through turns 3 and 4. Christy Bemis joining me on the call here during the heat races. Hi.
Happy to do so.
Yes.
One thing I did want to bring up after what Drake had just mentioned about Jake Swanson is when we do see a car that takes 1 lap at the end, and that is their solidified qualifying lap, they cannot start in the top 10 of the feature field tonight.
And again, that goes back to, and we kind of talked about it yesterday with the way the lineup procedures work, that is to prevent sandbagging. You don't want somebody coming out just going, oh man, my car's not running. You know, I want a better racetrack.
Yeah, I'm waiting until things are all the way until the end to go out and set down one really good lap. Unfortunately for Jake Swanson, he did go out and make a pretty salvageable lap once again. We saw him sort of have that same situation happen last night at Bloomington Speedway, except it ended much prettier last night, I should say.
Caution lights will go dark. The Toyota Racing Development pace truck will begin to make its way down into the infield. Don't forget, make sure and go to the USAC merchandise trailer for your chance to ride along in that pace truck during tonight's A-Main as our Amsoil Inside the Oval winner. The winner going to be drawn at the close of heat races. Set to go to green. Car IQ Heat Race number 1, Sam Scott and Kendall Rubel. On the front row, going to bring him up to the NOS Energy start can. We go to green. Field going to dash off into turns 1 and 2. Rubel going to try to have the advantage onto the back straightaway, being chased by the Moose Racing number 92. Hoofs down to the clay and up to the top of the speedway off of turn number 4. Challenge for the lead. He's got it. The 92 going to take over on lap number 1.
Sam Scott falling back to the 6th position right now as it sits in the top 5. Starting to walk away from him. Jaden Rogers right now sitting in that final transfer position.
Working top to bottom through turns 3 and 4. It is Stockton leading. Rubel, Moles, Rogers, Leary. They're in the top 5 right now. Then it's going to be Sam Scott, then Eric Gentry, then Carson Garrett right now rounding out your field. Garrett, a little bit of trouble during qualifying, having some trouble finding speed here in his heat race. Rides at the back in that Busch Light number 15. Mitchell Moles Into that second spot, just turned the quickest lap of this heat race at a 13.518, trying to reel in Stockton in the 92. Boy, what a week they had. They were supposed to be at Bloomington, coming back from Eldora. They were going down the road, and all of a sudden the trailer was ablaze. As he's going to have company to the inside, and it's not the kind you want. It's kind of like a knock at the door from the IRS. Here comes the 19, challenging for the race lead. Stockton trying to hold on to it. Drag race onto the front straightaway, side by side at the line. Stockton going to hold on to it as they come to the midpoint.
Man, that was close between Mitchell Moles and Chase Stockton as Moles now takes over the lead of Car IQ Heat Race number 1. He mentioned it a little bit in his interview last night. That Honest Abe Roofing fast time position making it much harder for him to transfer through his heat race tonight. Not the case. He's going tooth and nail for this one.
And, of course, as a quick qualifier, if he's able to hold on for the heat race win, that, as we talked about last night, further kind of shakes things up among those top 10 positions as Moles leads, and now out front starting to quicken his pace even more as a 1.216 second advantage. Last year, he finished second in this event after he led the opening 11 laps. Kevin Thomas Jr. ultimately picking up the win last year. Stockton running that second spot. Jane Rogers sitting in third. Kendall Rubel and C.J. Leary right now again sitting in that fifth and final transfer into the main event. Eric Gentry, Sam Scott, Carson Garrett continuing to run at your field. White flag is out, 1 to go.
If memory serves, Mitchell Moles was on the pole for every single AMSL USAC National Sprint Car event held here at Tri-State Speedway last year, and that means that he's got a really good car under him, and he's coming in with a lot of history. He picks up Car IQ Heat Race number 1.
Good run for the driver of the 19 AZs. Chase Stockton crossing in second. Jaden Rogers in third. Kendall Rubel in fourth. C.J. Leary in fifth. Eric Gentry crossing in sixth. Sam Scott, Carson Garrett unofficially rounding out your field. But your winner, ladies and gentlemen, he's out of Raisin City, California. Driver of the AME Electrical, Messiah Valley Transportation, Reinbold Underwood Motorsports, Stanton Spike, number 19 AZ. Race fans, give him a hand, Mitchell Moles. With that, let's go down trackside to Drake.
Second heat race win of the season for the driver out of Raisin City, California. Of course, your Honest Abe Roofing quick time qualifier tonight. Now after the clean sweep, and Mitchell, it was awfully close quarters between you and Chase Stockton. There's no question about that. Bit of a forceful move to get the lead down there in turns 1 and 2. Not really what to get eventually clear the 92.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just not going to get run down in the infield. He can only put up with that so much. I gave him room, and I wasn't going to kill him, so it's just kind of hard racing here. I feel like the track's kind of coming in, and I found a line he didn't find. So my car is really good right now. Hopefully we can keep this car somewhat near this. I feel like we'll have a shot later. It's definitely a little bit choppier and a little more grip than normal, but we're going to go back to work and watch these next couple heat races and see what we got.
Mitchell Moles, he's been close to a USAC National win. Won here last year in Midwest Thunder competition. He could be a really sneaky guy headed into the feature event.
Indeed, thank you very much.
Yeah, and so I had just mentioned that what I was trying to say was that Mitchell Moles was on the podium during every single AMSL USAC National Sprint Car event in 2024. What I think I said was that he was on the pole, which I don't believe is actually true. That's not
podium,
true.
Podium, pole, I mean...
Podium, true. Pole, not true.
They're both awarded precious medals.
That's true.
We'll just go with it.
Okay.
From a distance, they kind of look the same.
Well, they sound the same. They start with the first two letters. So.
That's what I'm going with. Anyway, K1 Race Gear Heat Race number 2. The driver, well, he's from right here in town, and he'll bring him down to the drop of the green flag. The West Side Automation, Engler Machine and Tool, Vision 1 Composites, Crew Seed Services, number 12S. It's going to be Aiden Schmidt. Outside of him in 55, Eli Wilhelmus. He's out of Newburgh, Indiana, the Traders Brewing Company, Larry's Automotive, RLH Associates, Spec DRC, Camptown at number 55. Second row from the inside, he's an 8-time winner here in USAC National Sprint Car Competition at Coleman, Alabama. The Inferno Armor, Majestic Electric, CSI, Stanton Mach 1, number 3R. It'll be Kevin Thomas Jr. And from the 4th starting spot, that's going to be Logan Seavey. He's out of Sutter, California. The Mountain Mechanical Contractors, Indy Power Sports, CGCPA's Abacus Racing, number 57. 5th starter is Hayden Reinbold at Gilbert, Arizona. The AME Electrical, Levante Windows and Doors, Indy Race Parts. Spike Stanton Power, number 19. And next to him, Gunnar Setzer. Setzer out of Columbus, Indiana. The Midwest Tube Mills, Cloyer Powered. Flea RC Chassis, Chrome Dome, Superior Ag, number 5G. Final row from the inside is going to be Colin Ambrose out of Owensboro, Kentucky. The Butch and Billy's Diesel Services, Oakley Powered, Max at number 36. And your final starter is set to be Braden Cromwell, Lone Jack, Missouri. The Bodies Race Company, Terry Cummings Powered, DRC Chassis, KH Suspension, Show Me Synthetics, Rick Horn Racing, number 4X. As that'll be your scheduled lineup for K1 Race Gear Heat Race number 2 of 4. Aiden Schmidt in the 12, making the trip up to Bloomington last night. 9th place finish in the Elliott's Custom Trailers of Cars semi-feature event. He was 13th in this show 1 year ago. That's his best career finish in USAC National Sprint Car Competition here at the Tri-State Speedway. A 4-time A-feature starter. with the series here at the Clash Track. And the driver set to start next to him. It is his USAC National Sprint Car debut. Eli Wilhelmus, driver out of Newburgh, Indiana. He is the 2024 Midwest Mini Sprint Association champion. It'll be interesting to see how the Traders Brewing Company, Larry's Automotive, McDonald's of Evansville, Darty Motorsports number 55 does for the outside of the front row.
We've seen a couple of drivers here specifically at Tri-State Speedway that do come up through MMSA and are rather successful at this racetrack, Kayla Rell being one of them.
Indeed, caution lights are down, set to go this time at the NOS Energy start can. 10 times, and off to a rough start.
I don't think that's going to work.
No. And just like that, caution light's going to come on as they were making all kinds of unwanted contact at the front of the field. If you're Kevin Thomas, you're saying, no, let it go.
Yeah, he sure would like to see that one continue, I'm sure.
Just like grade school, no touchy.
But alas, the rules stand side by side at the NOS can.
They were side by side, just a little bit too close.
Well,
so,
one of them was sideways and
yeah,
all
good
kinds of
point.
sides.
So we try it again off of turn number 4. Much better this time onto the front straightaway. We go to green. Schmidt going to slide up the racetrack with a top spot. Kevin Thomas Jr. down to the bottom of the 55, up to the high side of the speedway. Holds on to second for the time being. Kevin Thomas trying to hold the bottom. The car tied up the speedway. That's going to cost him potentially, but he finds some grip. He's going to stay inside of a transfer spot here. Maybe 3 wide onto the back straightaway. Everybody kind of tiptoeing around that 55. Not quite sure what to do with him. Down to the bottom goes the 19. To the outside goes the 3R now. They're going to split them, and they'll shuffle things up at the top 5. Schmidt leads. Reinbold, Thomas, Setzer, and Wilhelmus right now inside the top 5. Not for long. Here comes Stevie.
Kevin Thomas Jr. had been hustling it around the outside of the racetrack on a line where nobody else was really willing to go. We saw that work out last night at the Bloomington Speedway for Robert Ballou. But now he's sort of comfortably in that 3rd position, trying to make up some ground on Hayden Reinbold.
Not the first time we've seen Kevin Thomas do that here either, where he kind of goes to a line that nobody really thought about running, and that's part of what has made him so successful here. He's a 3-time winner in this event. He's won 8 times. He leads the series, now challenging for 2nd on Hayden Reinbold as they work to the back straightaway. They'll come around this time to cross flags. 5 in, 5 to go.
Logan Seavey currently holding down that 5th and final transfer position out of K1 race gear, heat race number 2. Sort of trying to find his footing. I know that he was a little bit nervous about coming back here tonight after his podium run last night at the Bloomington Speedway, but looks like he's sort of sitting in a comfortable position right now.
He's looked high, he's looked low, can't get to 2nd. Now 2nd, trying to get to 1st here. Aiden Schmidt got him knocking on the door. The 19 of Hayden Reinbold, the 3R Kevin Thomas Jr. coming after him. 19 down to the bottom, 3R to the outside, the 12 still out front. It is Schmidt, then Reinbold, then Thomas, and now Gunnar Setzer's into that mix. Remember, Setzer's introduction to Tri-State was during Indiana Sprint Week, and the flip started about the flag stand and ended about turn 2. Much better run here tonight. Here comes Kevin Thomas Jr. He'll thread the needle up into the race lead.
3R takes the race lead with 2 laps to go here in K1 race gear heat race number 2. So now Hayden Reinbold sits in 2nd. Kevin Thomas Jr. picking up some speed and starting to run away with it.
Taking that line that nobody else thought about, and it pays off for him. He'll come around to the wave with the white flag and 1 to go. Hayden Reinbold back into 2nd. Aiden Schmidt running in 3rd. Gunnar Setzer coming after him now. Midwest 2 Mills, number 5 to the inside as they work to the back straightaway. Takes it in deep into turns 3 and 4. He'll take Schmidt up the racetrack as Kevin Thomas Jr. comes around for the heat race win. Hayden Reinbold in 2nd. Gunnar Setzer grabs 3rd. Aiden Schmidt and Logan Seavey, those 5 drivers are going to move on. Eli Wilhelmus, Colin Ambrose, and Braden Cromwell unofficially rounding out your field. But your winner, ladies and gentlemen, off to a roaring start at Coleman, Alabama. The Inferno Armor, Majestic Electric, CSI, Rock City Racing, Lucas Oil, Center, Mach 1 chassis number 3R race fans. Give him a hand, Kevin Thomas Jr. Aiden Reinbold in 2nd, Gunnar Setzer in 3rd, Aiden Schmidt in 4th, Logan Seavey in 5th, Eli Wilhelmus in 6th, Colin Ambrose and Braden Cromwell unofficially rounding out your field. So the Inferno Armor number 3R going to work down into the infield, and we're going to take it down to Drake.
First heat race win on the season for the Coleman, Alabama driver KTJ. Kevin Thomas Jr. gets the job done in K1 race gear heat race number 2. And when KT's in the field here at Hobstadt, you can never truly count him out. And KT, you were just kind of sitting back there in the weeds watching the front two go out, and it kind of seemed like the perfect gap opened up. Take me through your decision-making process when you decide eventually to shoot the gap on those two cars.
Well, I mean, you know, we qualified 14th, so we just had to go. You know, the track was starting to do some different things there and opened up some lines that were a little abnormal, like running above the cushion and stuff like that. So, you know, it's got some character. It's a lot of fun. You know, but trying to get by those two and time it at the right time to not put yourself in a bad spot, because I knew I was running out of laps, was a little difficult. A little frustrating to qualify 14th here, but you know, we got a good race car here for the feature, and we'll see what we can do with it.
Kevin Thomas Jr. and Rocksteady Racing, those two parties very, very iconic here at the Tri-State Speedway. They'll try to get win number 9 tonight for KTJ.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to Hoosier Racing Tire Heat Race number 3. The driver of the poles out of Terre Haute, Indiana, the Maddox Heating and Cooling. Pro Source Newman Motorsports, Gressman DRC number 28 of Brandon Maddox. Next to him, Donnie Brackett out of Fort Branch, Indiana, the Lucas Oil Center. CB Design, K1 Race Gear, Speedway Motors, DRC number 4B. Next row to the inside in 61, Brady Short out of Bedford, Indiana, the Edwards Motorsports Spec DRC number 61M. Outside of him, the Madman, Robert Blue out of Rockland, California, the Suburban Subaru, Deaton's Waterfront Services, Factory K, Neiman Gardner Roofing, number 12. Next row to the inside in 21, out of Bonham, Texas, the Beatown Automotive, Canada DRC, Tom's Up Here by Quality Threads, number 21K, it's going to be Kobe Simpson. And next to him is your current USAC National Sprint Car Points leader, Kyle Cummins out of Princeton, Indiana, the Avanti Windows and Doors, Stanton Mach 1 Chassis, Apache Transport, number 3P. Final row for the inside, Bryce Andrews out of Kenosha, Wisconsin, the Roadside Auto Truck Transport, Don's Machine Shop, DRC, Josh Martin Roofing, number 17. And your final starter comes to you out of Evansville, Indiana. Another driver making their USAC Sprint Car debut. In fact, it is their Sprint Car debut. Steve Justice out of Evansville, Indiana, the Smoking Bong Head Shop, Spec Power, DRC, Full Throttle Automotive, Ben Ritchie Racing, number 12J. As that'll be your lineup again for Hoosier Racing Tire Heat Race number 3. Field will begin to line up here for Hoosier Racing Tire Heat Race number 3. Looking ahead on the schedule, things really about to pick up for the United States Auto Club, not only on the sprint car side, but across all 3 national divisions. Next week, we head back into Kansas. The Belleville Short Track and the Belleville High Banks will have the USAC NOS Energy Drink Midget National Championship on the quarter-mile bull ring inside the Belleville High Banks, and we'll have the Silver Crown cars on the big track. Practice on Friday, racing on Saturday for the Silver Crown cars, a 2-day show for the midgets. Again, that'll be in Belleville, Kansas on May 16th and 17th. Sweet Springs Motorsports Complex welcoming back the USAC NOS Energy Drink Midget National Championship. That'll be a Sunday showdown on May 18th. And then Terre Haute Action Track, the Holman Classic. Everybody in search of the rifle. That'll be on May 21st up at Terre Haute, Indiana. Circle City Raceway on May 22nd. Then Silver Crown cars back on track at Indianapolis Raceway Park. The Hoosier 100 on May 23rd. Then Knoxville Raceway end things out. Tickets on sale for the Avanti Windows and Doors Corn Belt Clash. A ton of money added to the purse this year, and that is one you do not want to miss. You can find the entire schedule when you go online to usacracing.com. So Brandon Maddox in the number 28. Said to bring him down to the drop of the green flag. Donnie Brackett, regular competitor here at Tri-State, to his outside. To the NOS Energy start can. We go to green. Brackett into the back of the 28, and Ballou with nowhere to go into the back of Brackett, and that stacks up 2 of them. Kobe Simpson getting caught up in all that, as that all started with the 4B into the back of the 28.
And while it will be a complete restart, as we did not complete a lap, the cars that brought out the caution will be restarting at the tail of this one.
So officials coming over and verifying 360 rule in the 4B is the cause of the caution. Getting a look at the FloRacing replay, and they were good off of turn number 4 at the NOS Energy start can, and Maddox up the racetrack. And the 4B on the gas and into his back bumper. They'll slow down the frame rate here. You get a better look at it. And Maddox is up the speedway. Now, he does not go all the way around. The 4B does, though. Does his best impression of Neptune over in turns 1 and 2. Gets it back rolling, but he will have to restart at the tail.
And how convenient for the 12 of the Madman, Robert Ballou, that just places him perfectly on the front row of this Hoosier Tire Heat Race number 3.
Picking up heat race win number 5 yesterday at Bloomington in dramatic fashion, I might add. Another one of those we talked about with KTJ earlier, going kind of where everybody's not. Well, yesterday, that's exactly what he did. He got a 3-for-1 deal in the process to get the heat race win. He's on number 5 for the season so far.
And then used that same strategy to drive himself all the way up to a second-place finish on the podium last night.
Restart with 3 to go and taking it into 1 and 2 in the last lap and kind of over-rotated the top a little bit, so it kind of gave him just enough distance. He wasn't able to make it up coming to the checker flag, but a great run for Ballou last night. We'll see if he can pick it up again here tonight from the outside of the front row. We're back to green. Also putting Brady Short up at the front row here as they work into the back straightaway, and that start, no good. Again, side by side, nose to tail, until you get to the NOS Energy start count in that front row. They'll crisscross things around. And the Madman going to go to the pole now. So from 4th to 1st, we haven't even completed a lap.
And now he's accompanied on the front row this one by nobody other than Kyle Cummins. So a couple of AMSL USAC National Sprint Car winners here at the Tri-State Speedway going to sit on the front row of this one.
A little bit of a shake-up of the lineup here. We'll see if we get a clean start. Again, side by side, you see that NOS Energy start can there at the exit of turn number 4. Textbook this time to the front straightaway. High side getting a little bit better jump. Robert Ballou trying to throw it into the bottom, see if he could clear. Couldn't make it. The Avante windows and doors number 3P going to take off with the heat race lead as we roll through Hoosier Racing Tire heat race number 3. It will be Cummins leading on your opening lap.
Kyle Cummins kind of read that one like a book and just let Robert Ballou slide up the racetrack and drove it around the outside of the 12.
Upside down. Contact. Sends the 4 flying. Looking back, just I saw a car go skyward after contact, and that was Brackett. He will crawl up and out of the car, and he is not happy judging by that body language. He's marching, he's looking.
The good news is he looks to be okay, given the walking, the marching. But unhappy, no less.
It's the Imperial March. Looked like Drake was trying to stop and get him a word, and he basically said, nope.
Not today, Drake.
Did he have anything to say to you on the way by?
No, he did not. He is on a mission to turn number 4. We'll see where this ends up.
Well, these moments always feel like slow motion, no?
I think he's just getting more angry the longer he walks.
Well, of course, it was complete opposite sides of the racetrack from where he started to where he's going.
He's going to share a cookie recipe. That's what it is. And looks like he is going to catch up with Mr. Andrews in the 17. A couple of words exchanged and looked otherwise cordial.
Pretty civilized.
Drake, what do you got?
Well, we've caught up with Donnie Brackett. First off, what was happening, and then what was said to Bryce Andrews?
I just felt like he really did me dirty there. I mean, he had nowhere that he was going to make that call and left me absolutely nowhere to go on this racetrack. So to me, it was a piss poor driving move. He's got one coming. That's exactly what I told him.
All right, short and simple from Donnie Brackett. He is none too happy with Bryce Andrews.
So we get a look at the replay here on the FloRacing broadcast as they work into turns 1 and 2 and up the racetrack. And you can see Donnie, he is on the brakes. And that's one of those where he thought he was going to have him cleared, but not the case.
It almost looked like Bryce Andrews just sort of missed the bottom side of the racetrack.
Yeah, he was going a lot faster sideways than forward. Tearing a big enough chunk out, they had to bring the lay out. They'll go ahead and make repairs over in turns 1 and 2 right quick. So we go back to green. Kyle Cummins will lead. Robert Ballou going to line up in second. Brady Short in third. Bryce Andrews will line up in fourth. Brandon Maddox going to move into the top 5. Kobe Simpson and Steve Justice should round out your lineup.
And we did get 1 lap complete, so that means we'll be single file on the restart. I'm interested to see what looks different this time for the 12, starting single file behind Kyle Cummins as opposed to right next to him, and see if that changes the dynamic at the front of this one.
Talked about the Avante Windows and Doors Corn Belt Clash coming up at the Knoxville Raceway. Night number 1, $9,000 to the winner. That is up quite a bit from last year. Again, that'll be on May 30th. Night number 2, May 31st, up at the Sprint Car Capital of the World. $15,000 to win.
And of course, the entire points and purse structure, as well as schedule, event times, all of that information can be found on the USACracing.com website, which Richie Murray has worked very hard to renovate this year. It is very easy to navigate. All of that information always posted under the event info for any race.
Yeah, that's one of the neat things. And when you go to the schedule, you can find the recap on anything we've run. The winner will be listed right there, but you can click where it says event info, and not only do you have the purse, the times, if you want to know what the Raceseaver channel is, what the tire rule is, it is all there. So you can't say, well, I didn't know.
The format is there as well, because I know that's another sticking point that is difficult to understand at times when you're not super fluent with it. And so that's all explained there under every single event that's listed on the website, including for Silver Crown, which the format is different for. So all of that information readily available at any time.
Another string of events to look forward to, that is the Eastern Storm. It kicks off June 17th up at Grandview, Bridgeport on June 18th, Big Diamond up on June 19th, Williams Grove Speedway on June 20th, Port Royal on June 21st, and then the Action Track USA, where sprint cars go to compete on the Micro Oval. If you have never seen a race there, you owe it to yourself. It is wild.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. There's been some skepticism about it in the past, but both years that we've done it, it's been a pretty booming success, in my opinion.
Think Silver Crown cars running here.
Yeah, that's a pretty good analogy.
Of course, you can see the entire lineup of events, again, as Christy said, USACracing.com. Make sure to find us on Facebook, X, and Instagram as well. Also, live timing and scoring available during USAC national events on Race Monitor. Another reminder, that is unofficial. So again, single file pass and OS Energy start cam. Kyle Cummins leading in the Avante Windows and Doors Petty Performance Racing number 3P. Robert Ballou lining up right on his back bumper. Brady Short sitting in the 3rd spot. Back to green. Robert going to look to the outside. Short going to look to the inside through turns 1 and 2. Better run for Ballou onto the back straightaway. Keep an eye on the transfer spot. You got 3 drivers right there. You got insurance. You've got deductible due. And you got the police chasing right now. The 21 trying to race his way into the show. Brandon Maddox trying to hold on to it as they work into turns 1 and 2. Maddox up to the top of the racetrack. He'll give up the ticket.
Brandon Maddox losing a handle on it just a bit there. That remains Cody Swanson, Kobe Simpson in that 5th and final transfer position.
Again, same initials.
You'll have that.
It's one of them nights. Anyway, a little bit tight of the exit turn number 4, but the Avante windows the doors number 3P continues to lead. Robert Ballou has been under fire nearly every turn from Brady Short. That time is about the most distance he's had between himself and the 61. Bryce Andrews and Kobe Simpson continue to round out those transferring positions right now. As the back of the field starting to come into view, that 12J of Steve Justice lurking around the bottom side of the speedway here as they'll come around, and he's going to be shown the black flag. He is well off of the pace, so officials are telling him, hey, you need to go ahead and get down to the infield as soon as possible. So far, not doing so as they work onto the backstretch. That did allow Ballou to catch up just a tick.
So Kyle Cummins on 1 or 2 laps ago became a little bit more conservative when he came up at turn 2 and got the car kicked a little bit sideways, enough to make him woe it up and sort of, as I mentioned, drive a little bit more conservatively in these winding down laps.
Ooh, really tight that time off of the right rear. You saw the car just pick up and shoot up the racetrack, turning about as well as a Mack dump truck that time off of the 4th turn. White flag coming, though, this time for Kyle Cummins. Again, the car extremely tight in the entrance of 3. He's able to get it back under with the exit turn number 4, but that has really allowed Robert Ballou to close in, but time is not on the side of the madman. Finding turns 3 and 4 for the final time. He'll adjust his line around the bottom. Still a little tight that time off of the left rear, but he's able to hold on to the win. Kyle Cummins in 3. Robert Ballou going to cross in 2nd. Brady Short in 3rd. Kobe Simpson in 4th. Bryce Andrews going to cross in 5th. Brandon Maddox, Steve Justice, and Donnie Brackett unofficially rounding out your field. But your winner, ladies and gentlemen, he's from right down the road in Princeton, Indiana. Driver of the Avante Windows and Doors, Premier Recycling, Midwest Lawn and Landscaping, Apache Transport, Stanton-powered Mach 1, Petty Performance Racing, number 3P. Race fans, give him a hand, Kyle Cummins. Robert Ballou in 2nd, Brady Short in 3rd, Kobe Simpson in 4th, Bryce Andrews, Brandon Maddox, Steve Justice, and Donnie Brackett unofficially rounding out your field. He'll make his way down into the infield, and we'll make our way down to Drake York.
We talked earlier about Kevin Thomas Jr. when he's at Hobstadt. You can never count him out. Certainly the same can be said for the driver of the 3P, Kyle Cummins. Of course, last night's winner and current AMSOIL National Sprint Car Championship leader. And Kyle, no doubt about it, you've won here a lot in a lot of series, but not yet here in USAC competition with the Petty Performance Racing 3P. Have you guys found what you're looking for to finally break into victory lane with this team?
Not in that heat race we did, and that thing was a handful. Oh, my gosh. Couldn't even drive it. No, we'll make some changes. The car's pretty good. We just track's throwing everyone, I think, for a little bit of a loop, so we'll just see how it goes. No matter what, I got to say Happy Mother's Day to my mother, and she's up there watching, and to all the moms out there, and my wife, and just thanks Jerry Petty for giving me this opportunity, and I think we'll start 2nd row there, so we'll see what we got. We got some changes to make for sure.
Kyle Cummins, we talked about last night's winner out at the Bloomington Speedway. 22 times Bloomington and Hobstadt have raced back-to-back. No one has won back-to-back between those 2 tracks in consecutive days. We'll see if Kyle Cummins can be the first to do it here tonight.
Well, I think if anybody has a good opportunity at getting that done, it would be the 3P of Kyle Cummins. And not only just this year with the amount of momentum that he's had, the amount of races that he's won, but especially this racetrack, as we all know. This is kind of his bread and butter here at the Tri-State Speedway. So Kyle Cummins looking to double up as we come off of last night's Larry Rice Classic at Bloomington Speedway.
Final heat race of the evening out to the Speedway for the USAC AMSOIL Sprint Car National Championship. This one brought to you by Cookout. Abby Holbein out of Cloverdale, Ohio, the Bennick Enterprises. J&M Excavating, K&L Ready Mix number 2A, going to be in the pole position. Outside is going to be Jake Swanson out of Anaheim, California, the Inland Rigging, Snake Enterprises. JST Shock Technology, Doughboys LLC, number 5T. 2nd row from the inside in 21, that'll be Carson Short out of Marion, Illinois, the Auto Wheel and Rims. Spec Power, DRC, Edwards Motorsports, number 21. Next to him, it's going to be Kayla Rell out of Dillsboro, Indiana, the Southern Insurance, Heavy-Duty Truck and Transmission Services, Don on Spike Chassis, number 4K. Justin Grant for the 5th starting spot. He's out of Ione, California, the NOS Energy Drink, MPV Logistics, Top Industries, Kistler Maxim, number 4. And next to him, going to be Briggs Danner out of Allentown, Pennsylvania, the E. Schneider & Sons Recycling, Oshucks Roasted Corn, Ryder DRC, number 39. Final row from the inside out of Collinsville, Oklahoma, the Pendleton Farms, Bennick Enterprises, John and Cheryl Line, number 2B of Cale Drake. And your final starter, set to be Colton Boopton. He's out of Marion, Illinois, driving the Orthopedic Associates. Dave Dennis Racing Engine, J&J Pure Cool, Owensboro RV, number 2J. As that'll be our scheduled lineup for Cookout Heat Race number 4.
Currently, 2 of our 3 heat race winners have come from your top 6 in qualifying, which means that they will not occupy those 2 heat race winner positions when it comes to the inversion later on in the night. So that means that everybody who qualified outside of the invert and did not win a heat race catches a little bit of a break when we get to feature lineup.
A gamut of words so far to describe what has gone on in the heat races, as Danner thought he was going to tag the wall there for a second.
You could also use that to describe the words that have come out of my mouth this evening.
Are we arguing now?
It's not a Cody Swanson in sight.
Next week. I was talking about Belleville. That's what threw you off.
Well, yes, that's being nice to me. We'll go with that.
We'll go with that.
You're being nice
I like
to
that
me.
one. Field set to go to green. Pass it on, Synergy start can. Here we go. Abby Holbein brings it down to the drop of the green flag. They're going to go 3 wide for that second spot. Holbein slipping back a little bit, and despite the damage during qualifying after getting upside down, he's going to try to come around to lead lap number 1. The drag race at the line, and it will be Jake Swanson leading. Swanson in the 5, challenge to the inside by the 21M of Carson Short. Working down to the bottom, Swanson gets the left side tires up a little bit. Short going to come around now. He's going to lead the way with Kayla Rell chasing, and Justin Grant hot on her heels.
What a lovely early move made by Kayla Rell as the caution flag comes out over in turns number 3 and 4.
I believe that is Booton that has come to a stop in the 2. It is. Remember earlier tonight, that car, once he kind of got rolling, a mass of smoke coming out of the back.
Yeah, it looks like he probably got pitched it a little bit too sideways there in turns number 3 and 4 and just got that thing turned around. We'll see if it fires back off here. It does.
So label 2 Speedway. He will drop to the tail end of the field. Carson Short leading.
And as I was mentioning right before that caution came out, Kayla Rell made a really impressive move through a gaggle of cars that had slid up in front of her in the first corner on the first lap and was able to sort of slice and dice through there and hold down that 3rd position.
Kayla Rell, who finished 20th in this event 1 year ago, the 3-time A-feature starter in USAC national competition. However, all the years of mini sprint, giving her a lot of experience on this racetrack. Some of that coming to bear here as she holds on to that 3rd spot. Field set to go back to green past the NOS Energy start can. We're back on our way.
A really great restart there for Carson Short. Jake Swanson getting through turns number 1 and 2 just a little bit better this time than he did on that original start. Now Justin Grant making some waves at the front.
Grant into the mix will take over the 3rd spot. Rell back to 4th. Now challenge looking to the outside. That is going to be Kel Drake in the 2. Kel Drake, who leads our Parallax passing master points so far this season, and a no parking zone once again for the 2. So up the ramp champ for the driver of the number 2J, 2 unassisted cautions. He'll be done in this event. Kennedy Hatton. Hope I'm saying your first name right. Kennedy Hatton, you are tonight's AMSOIL Inside the Oval winner. You and a guest. Going to get right in the pace truck for the start of tonight's feature event. You'll get to check things out from the infield. Make sure you make your way to the USAC merchandise trailer.
We Get them racked and stacked back up. One thing to note right now is that Briggs Danner sits outside of that transfer position right now. Cale Drake is on the bubble.
Field set to go back to green. Only 3 laps in here. In Cookout Heat Race number 4, challenge for second. Grant with a good run off at the top, going to dive to the bottom here, slings it by the 5. Swanson trying back to his inside. It's going to be Grant with the advantage in the NOS Energy number 4. Swanson coming back after him this time in turns 1 and 2. It'll be Grant on the outside, Swanson falling to 3rd. Cale Drake running in 4th. Kayla Rail right now into the top 5. She holds on to the final transfer, as you mentioned. Briggs Danner on the outside looking in, and he's coming knocking. Slicing things up, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. A little bit of smoke. Looks like coming off of the engine, not out of the engine of the number 2B. We might, though, have a challenge for the lead coming as Cale Drake short slides the 5 at the exit of turn number 4. He's up to 3rd. Ooh, Cale Drake bounces her a little bit through turns 1 and 2. Top 2 drivers in the meantime, they have pulled away by a straightaway. It's short, leading over Grant right now as we have 3 laps remaining.
Grant continuing to close that gap, and again, he's running just 1 lane higher on the racetrack than everybody else is in turns number 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. He's going to try to dive underneath. Carson short and not going to get it done this time.
Lab coat's going to fly next time up at turn number 4, the 2023 Spring Showdown winner coming up and trying to challenge once more. Looks to the outside of turn number 3. Does he switch his line up at turn number 4? He does not. Takes it wide onto the front straightaway. 1 to go. Final transfer spot's another one you want to keep your eye on. Here comes Briggs Danner. He's going to throw it on the inside. He's got it. Kayla Rail trying to work back to his inside. She's going to retake it. But for the win, the drag race, the 21. Carson Short going to get it done. Justin Grant get across in 2nd. 3rd is going to go to Jake Swanson, Cale Drake, and Kayla Rail fights back to hold on to that final transfer spot. Briggs Danner, Abby Holbein, and Colton Booten unofficially rounding out your field. But your winner, ladies and gentlemen, he comes here to Marion, Illinois, driving the Auto Wheel and Ram Spec DRC. Randy Edwards on number 21M. Race fans, give him a hand. Carson Short. Down to Drake.
First appearance of the season and the first heat race win for Carson Short here in 2025 here at the Tri-State Speedway, the site of his lone AMSOIL USAC National Sprint Car Championship win, along with his lone World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars win, and had to hold off Justin Grant, who in recent years has been one of the best here at the Tri-State Speedway with the series. Carson also coming off a stint out in California with the Ultimate Sprint Car Series. And Carson, I'm sure you could hear Justin behind you, and he was absolutely ripping through the top. Did you ever consider changing your line, or did you know as soon as you heard him that you were going to continue to stick to the bottom like you did?
Yeah, I could hear him up there. Hob's Out's a little tricky tonight. I must be getting old, I'm wore out, but yeah, no, I just kept at the bottom. I knew the car was set up for the bottom, and you know, it's getting a little slick on exit for the bottom, but the roughness on the entrance, I knew I probably could have went up there, but I figured if he was going to pass me, he was going to pass me on the bottom. So I just stayed there and held my line. Hopefully that'll help us out at the start of this thing. I didn't qualify very good, so we'll keep working on it, and hopefully we can get to the front.
Carson Short, your winner of Cookout Heat Race number 4.
Thank you very much. Heat races in the books here tonight for the USAC AMSOIL Sprint Car National Championship. Track work underway here on the broadcast. Let's go and step away for a moment. We'll be back to Tri-State.
Hi, my name is Peyton Burnham. I'm from Pomfret, Connecticut, and